Hey y'all, thank y'all for waiting. How you doing? Thank y'all for coming back. Hey, top flights and everybody coming in. Let's jump into this, y'all. I'm so damn busy today and I'm trying to get all these lives out. It's so much going on and I'm trying to keep up with everything. Let's get into the show. All right. Hello to everyone. And of course, everything said is alleged. And in my opinion, let's jump on in. All right. Hopefully, it won't be on this video too long, but we got some great findings and some updates. So let's get it. All right. Again, we're talking about Nolan, okay? We're talking about Nolan. We got to keep talking about Nolan until we figure out what the hell going on. All right, so they called me Auntie too. Released a statement saying that from the Cancun naval official, based on current findings, there is no evidence to suggest Nolan Wells was abandoned on Horn Island or intentionally left there to die. Now, according to the Cajun Navy official, it said that the current working theory is that Nolan drowned. Another thing they're saying here is Nolan's body was found close to the area where he was last reportedly seen. It also goes on to say that the official statement that the wind and the drift pattern tell a story, indicating that the body did not travel a significant distance. At this time, investigators have not announced evidence of foul play, and the investigation remains ongoing. All right. Authorities continue to encourage anyone with credible information, of course, to come forward. So that is the update on that piece. Let's keep going, because I pulled quite a few things. All right. Next thing, we're getting ready to see what the autopsy has to say here really, really soon. So they've already announced that. Let's get that. Oh, my throat broke this fan. Okay. And this is straight from the horse's mouth, as you guys can see. Attorney Ben Crump, we're looking at his page. All right. He has announced that preliminary autopsy findings in the death of Nolan Xavier Wells to be announced. All right. So NAACP adopts resolution calling for transparent investigation. So let's go ahead and get into it tomorrow. This is what Ben Crump is saying. Tomorrow, I will join the family of Nolan Xavier Wells at the 117th NAACP National Convention to announce the preliminary findings of the independent autopsy conducted on their behalf. Now, as this family continues to seek answers, we remain committed to pursuing the truth and demanding a full and transparent investigation into Nolan's death. All right. So that's what Ben Crump, that's his statement that he just issued 44 minutes ago. All right. That's how on we are. So let's get into what he also had to say here. We're going to keep this train rolling, honey. All right. All the new findings. Let's get into it. According to Nicole Everything, Wednesday at 8 a.m., Crump stands with Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, and the NAACP president, Derek Johnson, at the National Convention Center in Chicago to reveal what an independent medical examiner found in the death of the 18-year-old whose case has pulled in Colin Kaepernick's legal fund, Reverend Al Sharpton, and sitting congressmen demanding answers. All right. This state's official autopsy still hasn't been released. Of course, y'all know they haven't. Mississippi has not released theirs, and they are against Mississippi. What is it called? The Medical Examiners Act Code. And I'm gonna pull that up here for you guys in a second, because I did my due diligence to pull that. Mississippi is in direct. What's the word I'm looking for? They have not followed Mississippi code in terms of releasing their autopsy within a certain amount of time. They're holding it because they know a second one has been petitioned to be done on Nolan. So they're trying to wait for the other one. It's kind of like a cat and mouse game. So you put yours out first. No, you put yours out first. It's giving that, because they know that they're going to put something out different. And if the second autopsy comes up with something different, then they're going to be on some other bullshit. All right, but let's get into what Crump has to say here.
Are looking to have findings sooner rather than later. Obviously, you want stuff from the first autopsy because they had the body closer to time. We got the body almost 6 days later, Dr. Roger Mitchell. So there are limitations as to what he could do.
Can you confirm when that autopsy was done?
They had weather issues, so I do think they got the body Friday night or Saturday morning, around that time.
Was that the same day that the autopsy was?
I can't confirm that. I know they received the body, and I think they immediately went to it. It would be in the report the date they did the autopsy. We are looking.
So, oh my God. All right. So let's move along. You heard what he had to say about that. Now let's get into what I pulled up here, because there is a certain code. It's called the Mississippi Code Medical Examiner Act. All right. So I was talking to a good friend of mine who knows a lot about this. And I said, let me look into this. Let's pull this up and read what it has to say in detail, because they are in direct conflict of interest too, for them waiting for the first one to be, for the second one to be released when they should have already released theirs as well. Not sure why they're holding it. I feel like they're putting something in there that maybe should not be put in there, and they're waiting to see what the other one has to say so that they can, I guess, align theirs with what the second autopsy has to say. I don't know why Ben Crump and them did not wait to put theirs out, but maybe they're trying to stay within the code of their city in terms of releasing it in the certain amount of time that they're supposed to as well, because there is a certain time. So according to Mississippi Code 41-61-65, autopsy reports, immunity, and review. Now, according to Mississippi Code, governs when, how, and whom autopsy reports are prepared and shared, and outlines immunity and review rights for determinations made under the state's Medical Examiner Act. All right, let's look at some key provisions. Key provisions number 1 says that when an autopsy is ordered, all right, typically right after the body, because they want to be able to make sure they don't miss anything, to make sure that the body doesn't decompose too bad before that they can go through and see what actually happened to said person. All right. Now, if the investigating medical examiner determines that it is advisable and in the public's interest to determine the primary and or contributing cause of death, an autopsy or other study must be performed. Now, the state medical examiner may either perform it themselves or appoint a designated pathologist qualified to conduct post-mortem examinations. Okay. Now, number 2 says pathologist qualifications must be an MD or DO certified in anatomic pathology by the American Board of Pathology or forensic pathology in some versions, unless a qualified pathologist is not available within a reasonable time. All right. They may retain tissue for further study or documentation. Organ and tissue donation. If the deceased is medically suitable for organ and tissue donation, the state medical examiner or designated pathologist may retain approved samples in accordance with Mississippi organ donation laws. Report requirements. Check this out. A complete autopsy report, findings, and interpretations must be submitted promptly. Y'all hear this? Promptly. That means hurry up. To the state medical examiner. Copies must be given to the authorizing medical examiner, the district attorney, or county prosecuting attorney. That would be Ben Crump. He's a prosecuting attorney. The court clerk, one adult member of the immediate family, or their legal representative and guardian upon request. Nolan's family has not received their first autopsy. Neither has Ben Crump, who is the attorney, prosecuting attorney in this case, right? They haven't received anything from the medical examiner, and they should have already finished this examination by now. So what the hell are they waiting on, right? Request source. The medical examiner may consider autopsy requests from district attorney or county prosecuting attorney, law enforcement, or other public officials, private persons. Special cases, if the death occurred in a manner specified in, gives the code here. An example, sudden infant death syndrome, the autopsy must be performed by the state medical examiner or qualified designated pathologist, and the report must also be forwarded to State Department of Health, infant attending physician, local sudden infant death syndrome coordinator. All right. Then we're going to look here. It said the purpose is this section ensures that autopsies are conducted by qualified professionals, that findings are thoroughly documented, and that reports are shared with relevant authorities, and where appropriate, the family. It says that it also establishes the framework of immunity for immunity and review for or of determination under the Medical Examiner Act. All right. So it said that for the full story text, of course, Mississippi Code. So that actually is the Mississippi Code 41-61-65 for the Medical Examiners Act. So now that we know what that is, and we read on that, they've already supposed to have released it for the first one, and they've not done that. So they are directly not following code. All right. So there's so many things here There are so many things going on here, but they're not following code, and they're not getting this information out to the family or Ben Crump's office in a timely manner, so that they can proceed with their with how they're going to proceed with, you know, this case. Okay, shit, they got to know what happened to him in order for them to proceed, right? So let's continue. Ben Crump has also released this. So as I told you guys, tomorrow at 8 a.m., civil rights attorney Ben Crump will join the family, Nolan Wells, the family of Nolan Wells, at a news conference to announce the preliminary findings of an independent autopsy conducted on behalf of the family. So tomorrow by 8 a.m., we should know what happened to Nolan, right? So this is what Ben Crump had to say. Ben Crump, trial lawyer for justice. Ben Crump to announce preliminary findings for or from independent autopsy in the death of Nolan Wells. Y'all ready? Sit back with me. NAACP adopts resolution calling for in-depth, transparent investigation. Chicago, July 21st, 2026, nationally renowned civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump will join the family of Nolan Xavier Wells at the news conference Wednesday at the 117th NAACP National Convention. It said that Crump will announce the preliminary findings of an independent autopsy conducted on behalf of the family. Nolan, who was 18 years old, traveled by boat with friends to Horn Island, Mississippi on July 4th to celebrate the holiday. When the group returned to shore, Nolan was not with them. On the morning of July 6th, a U.S. park ranger found his body at the northwestern tip of the island. Now, on July 18th, the NAACP National Board of Directors adopted a resolution of condolence for the family that calls on local, state, and federal authorities, including the U.S. Department of Justice, to complete an in-depth and openly transparent review of how Nolan came to be left on the island and of all activities in the hours before his body was recovered. Who? On here it says, Christine and Elmore. Oh, it's raining. Christine and Elmore Wansley, parents of Nolan Wells, attorney Ben Crump, Derek Johnson, which is the president and CEO of the NAACP. Of course, when it says it Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, which is tomorrow at 8 a.m. We may be able to do this live. We may be able to cover this live. Okay, I'm gonna try to get on here if I'm not too busy tomorrow morning with my stuff with work. I'm going to try to, if they go live with this, I'll try to, maybe we'll go live along with them so we can see in real time. Where McCormick Place West, what is that building? Room 183B/C, 2301 South Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60616. All right. So that is that. Shout out to Tess Figueroa on that. So let's keep going. All right, so let's look at this. This is some more findings in the Nolan Wells case. I did get a chance to look at the video where Nancy Grace covered the Nolan Wells case. She also has someone up there who's done many autopsies over 10 or so years. So he's very much so well-versed in autopsies, what to look for. And he gave some really, really good insight. And we're going to look at that here in a second after this. But let's get into a shout out to Nancy Grace. It says, what happened to Nolan Wells? The college athlete was found face down, fully clothed on Horn Island, raising questions that still linger. Now, Todd Terrell, which is the president of the United Cajun Navy, who helped search the waters for Wells, shares what he saw that day. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this so that you guys will get a more in-depth look into what had happened.
Todd Terrell joining us from the United Cajun Navy, called in to participate in the water search for this young star athlete, Nolan Wells. Tonight, mystery swirling around his death. How is it that a group of his friends go out on a boat? They go to a remote Horn Island. There is nobody there. It's uninhabited. How does he end up dead on the shore and everybody else makes it back? As I recall, Todd Terrell, Nolan was face down, still fully clothed on the beach. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. He was face down, which would have meant that he drowned. Now, when we say he was found fully clothed on the beach, it was in the same vicinity of where he possibly drowned, right there. So it was not uncommon for the body to have washed up right there. That being said, that area full of rip currents really strong right there, goes from 2 to 3 foot to 20 feet, pretty much within a couple steps. So that being said, whatever happened really, really close to where the body was found.
Todd Terrell joining us from the United Cajun Navy, called in to participate in the water search for this young star athlete, Nolan Wells. Tonight, mystery swirling around his death. How is it that a group of his friends go out on a boat? They go to a remote Horn Island. There is nobody there. It's uninhabited. How does he end up dead on the shore and everybody else makes it back? As I recall, Todd Terrell, Nolan was face down, still fully clothed on the beach. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. He was face down, which would have meant that he drowned. Now, when we say he was found fully clothed on the beach, it was in the same vicinity of where he possibly drowned, right there. So it was not uncommon for the body to have washed up right there. That being said, that area full of rip currents really strong right there, goes from 2 to 3 foot to 20 feet, pretty much within a couple steps. So that being said, whatever happened really, really close to where the body was found.
Todd Terrell joining us.
All right, y'all hear that? Yeah, I think you're trying to push this narrative to say that he drowned. From some things that I was reading, and of course, we still have to wait for the original autopsy, which will tell us everything we need to know. If he drowned, then he would definitely have had water in his lungs. His body would have been waterlogged. His skin would have been flaky. And we're gonna kind of look at this here in a second. I'm gonna play for you guys what this guy who has done autopsies for years had to say about the possibility of what may have happened to Nolan. I want to rule out drowning. I mean, not that I'm an investigator or anything like that officially, but I don't feel that he drowned. I feel like his body was definitely placed there. I feel like there's a lot of foul play here, and I think that somebody's asked me to be arrested. But let's go ahead and get into what I pulled here. I went ahead and fast forwarded to the point where we're going to take a look at it. Okay. So let's go ahead and share where I was looking at Nancy Grace's video today, and we're going to just look at what the person who does the autopsy had to say, because that's very important. Let's make it big so we can see it. And I think the closed caption is closed caption on. Yeah. All right. So that you guys will be able to see and hear. Let's get into it. Shout out to Nancy Grace. Let's go.
Renowned guest, Dr. Kendall Crowns, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County. He is the star of the hit podcast, Mayhem in the Morgue. He is the esteemed lecturer at the Burnett School of Medicine at TCU and has performed well over 10,000 autopsies.
Wow.
Dr. Kendall Crowns, thank you for being with us. Okay, I don't have a ruling from the medical examiner. It should be apparent if drowning was the COD, cause of death. That should be very apparent by simply autopsying the lungs. Also, you'd know immediately if there were signs of trauma. I've seen the photos of his body on the beach, but as Todd Terrell from United Cajun Navy stated, the body was face down, so I couldn't see the face, the neck, the arms, the hands for defensive wounds. I couldn't see if there were bruises to the torso. I couldn't see if the skull was fractured. None of that. I couldn't see if teeth were missing. But it seems to me if those exhibited, we would know there had been blunt force trauma, stabbing, shooting, manual or ligature asphyxiation. We would know that. But yet, we know nothing. So, to me, that would rule out drowning or trauma. Are they waiting on toxicology? Is that what they're waiting on? And why would the body have been sent for an independent autopsy? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But what's going on, Dr. Kendall Crowns?
Relax.
Y'all funny. Y'all said, why he looking like that? He's waiting for her ass to shut up because she is taking a long way around to get to the question.
Let Kroger Pickup handle your groceries. We start with the freshest item.
Okay, to start with, he was in the water for several days. I'm sure the water in that area is warm, so his body is going to be decomposing. He'll have skin slippage. He's going to have bloating from the decompositional gases and then purge fluid coming out of his mouth and other orifices. So then you also probably have post-mortem animal scavenging or marine aquatic life scavenging that can create marks on the body as well. So at autopsy, your question, wouldn't you be able to see the evidence of injury? Yes, you should still be able to see injuries, bruises, stab wounds, gunshot wounds, all that, even in decomposition, can still be seen, can still be determined. He doesn't sound like he's been consumed by aquatic life to the point that he's skeletonized and the front of his body. So my assumption is you would still be able to see injuries. Now, they have not given a definitive cause and manner of death yet, because to me, that means there's no obvious signs of injuries or no obvious cause of death. Because drowning, yes, the lungs can swell and be heavy with fluid, but this can also happen with drug overdoses. So differentiating a drowning from a drug overdose is difficult.
No.
So you
No. N-O. Yes.
Well, I don't know how
it
many
would exhibit,
autopsies of
manifest
drownings
in
you've
the
done,
same.
but I've done a lot. So
Absolutely
continue
zero.
on,
But I
please.
don't need to have my MD or be the lecturer at Burnett School of Medicine to know that if the lungs are full, and it could be drowning or fluid caused
Drug
by an
overdose.
overdose. Can't you get the fluid and test it?
So testing of the fluid from the lungs there's nothing to test for. What you're going to look for is the pulmonary edema or fluid in the lungs. You're going to try and differentiate a drug overdose from drowning with a toxicologic study, which is what they're doing, and that can take up to 6 to 8 weeks. Drowning is a diagnosis of exclusion because it can mimic so many other things, including a drug overdose. You want to rule those things out before you determine cause and manner of death. And that's probably what they're doing. They're making sure he didn't overdose before they make the decision that he drowned. Now, the second autopsy being done, that's just the family obviously has no confidence in the local medical examiner / coroner system.
Sure don't.
And they've sent it to an independent person to do a second autopsy. Not uncommon, especially in cases that are more high profile or there's some sort of dispute. And they send it to an independent person to do a second autopsy to see what they can find. And from my knowledge, the information on that still isn't out yet. So they're also probably trying to find out what the toxicologic studies are going to show before they make a decision. So right now, we're kind of pending on what drugs he has on board before they make a cause and manner of death statement.
Dr. Kendall Crowns, I understand. And
Liking how they're just immediately going into this drug thing as to say that this boy was a druggie or on drugs. Now, who knows? He is a teen, sometimes peer pressure. All right. So we don't want to rule out everything. They did say that this is a place those kids did go to do drugs, smoke, inhale, whatever they're doing. We don't know, right? At the end of the day, I feel like he had a future. He had to go Monday to start his football career, at which you guys know they do drug test them to make sure they're not on anything, including steroids and other things like that. So I don't see him messing up his future in football, which is something he was very passionate about, to be on this weekend on July 4th. To be just heavily drugged out and on drugs that he know is going to come up in his system if and when they test him that Monday to go into his career. Y'all get where I'm going with that? I just don't see that. And if that comes back that he did have it in his system, okay, I can say, oh, okay, well, I can retract my statement because I'm not somebody that does autopsies and I wasn't there when they were out partying and doing what they were doing. Again, they are young kids who if they were drinking, which they're underage, what's to say they won't do some other things, all right? But let's continue.
I also
don't like how they're pushing this drug narrative, though. I don't like that.
So understand your explanation regarding the potential drowning fluid in the lungs as opposed to or compared to the fluid in the lungs if there had been an overdose. If he's found right there, face down, it looked to me like in the surf, not out in the water floating, but up on the beach. So even if that was the least of it, the water still would have gone into his nose and mouth. If he were alive, he could have inhaled it or ingested it even if a drug overdose was the true COD, which would require, I guess, what, Dr. Krause, a dual finding of drowning and OD. And I'll just state for the record, let it be noted in the record, that I have never performed an autopsy, but I'm glad you pointed that out. So what about the fluid in the lungs?
She felt aware about that when he said, I don't know how many autopsies you performed, but I've done over 10,000. She felt aware about him calling her ass out about that when she told him no, that it couldn't have been a drowning or fluid in the lungs. Let him do his job, okay? You attorney, he does the autopsies. Fall back, Nancy, okay?
If there had been an OD, and by the way, there is no suggestion that drugs were used that day. None whatsoever. But that said, you're saying that there would be no difference in the fluid found in his lungs.
So with a drowning, you're going into heart failure at some point from the anoxia created, or the lack of oxygen to the brain created by the drowning, because there's no air and water. And that causes your body to shut down, which causes fluid to back up and causes pulmonary edema or swelling of the lungs.
Pay attention to what he's saying, because tomorrow, when we hear the autopsy, we're going to be able to compare what he's saying, right? He's saying if there was a drowning, there's going to be heart failure, pulmonary edema. I'm going to write this shit down. Hold on. Because I'm going to compare this shit tomorrow. They ain't going to play in my face. Hold on. Pulmonary edema. I'm sorry to stop the video. Heart failure. Oh, I'm on this shit. Okay. And what else? Swelling of the lungs. Okay. That's if there was a drowning. All right. I'm going to leave my note right there. All right. Let's keep going.
The same process happens in a drug overdose. But when you're drowning and you're inhaling that water, you get some water in your lungs as well, but you're also swallowing, gulping it, throwing back up, and then swallowing and gulping it again. So you'll have water in your stomach that you can look for in a drowning, not always. And sometimes you'll get water in an area in your sinus cavity called the sphenoid sinus as well. But the pulmonary edema created by drowning looks exactly like the pulmonary edema created by a drug overdose. So you can't really differentiate the two of those. And that's why the drug testing is so important. And yes, you are correct. If drugs come back on board, like let's just say fentanyl, it would be part 1 drowning, part 2 fentanyl toxicity, and then manner would be accident. So it's going to be a drowning no matter what. But is there going to be a toxicology component added on? And that's probably what they're working on as we speak.
Y'all hear that?
In life, growth doesn't.
Now, we do know fentanyl is a drug that young people are using now. I pray to God that that does not come back in his system. I pray to God that does not come back in his system. So we're going to have to wait again. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow to see what happens. But let's go ahead and continue.
You're on cross-examination. Who is our next sponsor? Well, here is a probative.
Okay, so we're done. I just wanted to hear the person who does the autopsies, okay? We won't go hear all that. All right, so we're moving on from that. All we can do now is wait, because I'm sure there's not going to be any more new developments unless somebody come forward and say, okay, I saw this, or I want to come forward and say that I was involved in this situation with Nolan, okay? And unless somebody comes forward and says that, then we really don't have an update right now. Okay, that's the only updates that we have so far. So let's get into this. I haven't talked about this case in a while, and I started talking about it. So I want to, I guess, continue because there's a new update with that. The case of David, the I guess what is he, an R&B singer who was said to have unalived Celeste Rivas. Let's get into that. The young girl who he was said to be dating, who she was very much so underage, and she started talking about going to report their relationship or talk about their relationship to someone. And it was said that he unalived her because he did not want to ruin his career of being caught by one being with a minor, among other things. So he unalived her and he dismembered her, and they found her body in the trunk of his Tesla. Some of you guys may remember the story. We started talking about it. Let's get into the new developments because they said more details are being revealed from singer David's preliminary hearing, which they just had. So let's get into it. Reporter reveals gruesome details that were shared during the singer David's preliminary hearing in Celeste Rivas Hernandez unaliving. Let me go ahead and put my trigger up again. Nobody feeling triggered, honey. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get that. We got a lot of cases that we're on. My God, from Carmelo to David to Nolan Wells, like the list goes on. And then the other guy, George, whatever his name was, Jesus. Like, let's continue though. Shout out to Hollywood Unlocked. Let's go.
Courthouse in Los Angeles. There was a break now in the David hearing. We knew that it was going to be gruesome. There were a lot of details we hadn't heard about yet, and it is. They've been showing pictures from after they found Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body when it was taken out of the trunk, allegedly of David's trunk. Her family is in the courtroom, so you can imagine. I mean, they've been emotional looking at these pictures. Some of these details are hard to talk about, but they talked about 2 severed arms, 2 legs, a severed kneecap, all in the front trunk of the Tesla. Just looking back at the notes here, they noticed in the right hand a tattoo that said "shh," and on the left and pinky finger was removed, that it was cut off, they said. Found in a black trash bag. Left hand was found in a black trash bag with 2 fingers severed. And they could not see a face, they said. The question was, when she was removed from the trunk, could you see a face? And the detective said no, there was quite a bit of decomposition and skin slippage, so it was unrecognizable. So it's difficult to listen to all this stuff. And again, the family's in there. So, yeah, we're not allowed to report the details of what's happening until there's a break, and there was just a break. So I'll keep you guys posted. At the courthouse.
This motherfucker is crazy. Y'all hear me? Like, I've heard of dismemberment, but bitch, like, you was chainsaw massacred that day on her. And that is, you deserve to be under the fucking jail. You have some serious mental issues, David, to do this to this young girl because she was going to tell someone about this relationship who she was being, according to her, she felt like she was being abused in a relationship, and she wanted to talk to someone and tell what was going on. And when she mentioned that she was going to talk about your relationship with her, you went batshit crazy on her, unalived this girl, and decided that you were going to dismember her. And fingers missing, kneecaps missing. They can't even see her fucking face because it's so dismembered. Like, he went batshit crazy on her. I mean, and this was all because he didn't want his career to end or his lifestyle to change, you know, from being this huge R&B singer who is fucking weird, might I add. Let's not forget when they announced that her body was missing, and it was possibly that she was possibly unalived, that he was on tour like nothing ever happened, right? And he was selling these t-shirts that had like blood splatter on it, which I thought was the weirdest shit ever. Y'all can Google that. I don't want to play it on my channel. But and the crazy songs, we looked at some of the lyrics of the songs where he was writing about her, and it kind of spelled out what he did to her and how he was obsessed and obsessing over her. And it also talked about how he entertained in his mind how he would mutilate and be brutal towards this girl because he was so in love with her. That's some sick shit, right? This guy does not deserve to be on the streets because he is crazy. His music says that he's crazy. It spells it out. His mentality and how he thinks in terms of his interpretation of love. Like, that's not love. That's some sick shit. Like, don't love me to death, literally. Like, do not love me to death. And that's exactly what he did to this girl. I think they're gonna give him the death penalty. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because he is very far gone. I think they said that his mom was saying that growing up, all he wanted to do was stay in his room, locked up in his room all the time and just play music and just be on some weird shit. And now as an adult, you've unalived somebody. And when as far as dismembering this girl in the way that you did, where fingers are missing, a hand in one bag and her face is disfigured and fucking kneecaps over here. And I don't want to be too gruesome, but damn, David, he deserves to be under the fucking jail. Let's move on, child. All right, not sure what's going on with the with ESPN doing all these damn layoffs, but let's get into this, child, because now they've also laid off Cam Newton. The NFL has. Let's get into this because, child, when I saw this, I said, "What is going on?" My God, I think they laid off Cam Newton for that weird attire. His ass, them socks be pulled up like that with them damn shorts on, them Easter shorts his ass be having on, and them tight ass blouses with the bow ties. Okay, and the crazy weird hats. It was like, okay, we can't take this shit no more. You laid off. I think that's probably why they did it. Okay, don't quote me on that. But let's get into it. Shout out to Ball Alert. Stephen A. Smith says that Ryan Clark's ESPN exit hurt him deeply, child. But business is business. You might be next, Stephen. So you might want to shut your ass up, right? You might be next on the chopping block. But let's get into what Stephen had to say. Let's listen to him holler, because y'all know that's what he loved to do.
It's a rough day to say the least. Working at ESPN, we all know the news right now. No need to delay the obvious. My man Ryan Clark for ESPN is gone. He was let go by ESPN yesterday. There's a lot of noise circulating throughout social media and beyond about how he found out. He was on the air doing NFL Live when he was notified, and various reports out there were saying that, ESPN was concerned as a result of knowing that the information had leaked, that he would find out while he was on the air from somebody else. So they wanted to make sure he heard from them or whatever. I don't know all those details. And to be quite honest with you, I don't care. What I care about is that my brother, Ryan Clark, what's up, everybody? It's your man, a person that I consider to be arguably the best NFL analyst in America, is no longer a member of ESPN.
I find it very weird they're laying off all the blacks too. What's up with that? All right. What's up with that?
And I can't even tell y'all how much that hurts. He's a man, and so he's going to handle it the way men do. And we understand that. But I'm going to miss him. I am not happy about this decision one bit. The bosses know I'm not happy about this decision. I've made that very, very clear. But it's also important that myself and anybody else in the world of business be grown-ups and understand that these are the kind of things that happen when layoffs happen. A lot more folks getting laid off. People that are my colleagues, my contemporaries. For all I know, and I don't know the names yet, but for all I know, some more of my friends are going to be gone.
Might be you too. They just ain't told your ass yet.
The only thing that I can definitively say to you is that there's nobody that's going to be let go that was more of a friend and a brother to me than Ryan Clark. I don't know how many times I have to say this. I don't care whether people agree or disagree. When I debate, I think about two things. This is why I believe I've never lost a debate, because I'm either right or I'm edified because I've learned from somebody who was more right than me.
That's some narcissistic bullshit to say right there.
A lot more folks getting laid off. And I walk away from the debate and the conversation more educated, more informed, more edified than I ever thought possible. And that's why I feel that I've never lost a debate. Working with somebody like Ron.
You never lost a fucking debate because you don't let nobody talk. And you loud as hell too, right? They just probably give in like, okay, damn, you got it. That's probably what they do.
Ryan Clark, anytime I talked about the NFL, anytime I talked about life, I walked away feeling that way about him because I had just finished talking with him or debating with him or arguing with him about something, because the brother's that smart. He's that conscientious. He's that thoughtful. He's that sincere. He's that real. He's that authentic.
Okay.
I was like, they don't know him at all. They don't know him at all. And it's a real shame.
Okay, Stephen. Somebody said in the chat he's talking about him like he ain't here no more, like he's unalive or that he passed away. Child, okay. Yeah, it's sad or whatever, it is sad, but that's what happens in the real world. Jobs lay people off all the time, right? There are a lot of companies that are cutting back. ESPN obviously is doing that. It's unfortunate that the black people are the only ones that's being laid off. That's a little sus, but companies lay people off all the time, right? It's just hitting Hollywood now. Think about all the people that was laid off at the damn airlines, right? Shit, think about all the people who wasn't getting food stamps for a while. Everybody was taking a hit this year at some point in time. Companies were laying off. I told you guys about the warehouse, okay? Some warehouse that laid off like thousands of people. Imagine that, going to work and they're telling you that, oh, today's your last day, by the way. Here's a package. Let's not even forget about the what was it? The airline that didn't even get a package, right? Spirit, they were let go. They didn't have their benefits. They didn't even have a fucking package. I'm pretty sure ESPN gave you guys very, very nice packages to walk away with. So that's a you know, at least you got something to hold you over until you figure out your next move. Or it's a possibility you can find another job within ESPN if you were that good and you have some major connections within. So that's just the name of the game. If you work somewhere and they're cutting back in terms of just say major cutbacks, wherever it is, sometimes they will cut back and they will downsize in different departments, and unfortunately people will lose their jobs behind that, and that's not something that anybody expects whenever they sign on to work somewhere, but it's definitely something that you have to, you know, keep your options open to, and always keep your resumes updated so that you will have to be able to move when you need to move and find something else. And make sure that your resume is very impressive when doing so. Okay, let's get into this next topic. I think this is the last one. It is. Okay, I hope y'all enjoyed the show thus far. This is our last topic. Now, I think some mothers, okay, for those of you that are mothers, maybe you guys have felt like, oh my God, if you had a son, maybe you wanted to have a daughter, or you envisioned yourself having a daughter. You have some women, I've seen a lot of gender reveals where women start breaking down crying because they thought they were going to have a boy, and they had a girl. You know, it was revealed that they were going to have a girl and they really wanted a boy really bad. I don't feel like it's the end of the world. In this day and age, when children are born with different disabilities and things going on with them, you just have to thank God that your child is born healthy. I mean, when I found out I was pregnant, before I even knew I was having a son, in my mind, I thought I was having a girl. I wanted a girl. I wanted to have a baby girl. When I went to find out what I was having and the doctor said it was a boy, I didn't even give a fuck. Okay, I said, you know what? As long as my baby is healthy. Of course, my husband was smiling from ear to ear because he wanted a son. The whole time he's like, I really hope you're having a boy. Whole time I was saying I want a girl, but I didn't flip out. I didn't cry. I didn't have a freak out moment. It was just one of those like, oh, okay, I'm not having a girl. You know, I would have liked to have had a girl, but I'm having a healthy son. He was 100% healthy. So we got to thank God, right? We have to be able to say, okay, God, whatever. This is definitely in your plan. There's a reason why you gave me a son, or there's a reason why you gave me a daughter. Let's not be, you know, because that's a gift. All children are a gift. So when it's like somebody give you a gift, you're like, ugh, why'd you give me this? You know, I wanted this or wanted that. When God give you a gift, be appreciative, okay, of that gift. But let's get into Candace from Real Housewives of Potomac, because she revealed something that I kind of thought was a little off-putting. Okay, let's get into it. Former Real Housewives of Potomac star, if we can call it that, opens up about experiencing gender disappointment while pregnant. Okay, so she's pretty much faking the funk in terms of what she really felt in front of people versus behind closed doors. So let's get into it.
I had gender disappointment that a lot of moms talk about because I really wanted a girl first. And I remember being fine, like in the room because it was my mom, my sister, my best friend, and Chris. And I was like, yay. And then I remember going upstairs to shower to get the paint off me. And I like broke down crying in the shower, like, I always knew that I wanted a daughter. I knew that what was growing inside of me was a daughter, and I was wrong. And I talk about that because we do need to normalize that that is a thing that you can have. And it doesn't mean that you love your children any less or any differently, or that you're not happy. It's just a feeling, an emotion. I had gender disappointment.
I mean, you could always try again, and you might have a daughter this time, right? If you froze some eggs, have them insert, female eggs in you, and you may just have a girl. You just never know, right? Y'all know that Candace was having, and Candace, let me say this about you, love, because you were having some difficulty even getting pregnant. All right. So the fact that you were able to get pregnant and carry your baby to full term should have been a blessing within itself, right? And not to say that you can't have preferences of what you want to have, but the fact that you were struggling to even become a mom from many different health issues and things that you had going on to where you could not conceive, and then to get the message or to get the news that you are actually expecting and having a healthy child, like that should have been your main priority. Because if you had one, hopefully if things work out to where you can have another, if that's your choice. But hey, we're not going to be sitting here crying and acting fake in front of people. Say, oh yeah, I'm happy to have a boy. And then when they walk out, oh God, why you give me a boy? Like, why it got to be like that? You, for one, could not even have kids, according to what you were told, according to what she said. The doctor told her she was not going to be able to conceive. And boom, here you are with a beautiful baby, a son, be that as it may. And the child is healthy. So that's, you have to thank God that you've given this gift. And again, you can always try again for your girl, right? Child, I'm gonna play one more time, then we're gonna go.
A lot of moms talk about because I really wanted a girl first. And I remember being fine, like in the room with, because it was my mom, my sister, my best friend, and Chris. And I was like, yay. And then I remember going upstairs to shower to get the paint off me. And I like broke down crying in the shower, like, I always knew that I wanted a daughter. I knew that what was growing inside of me was a daughter, and I was wrong. And I talk about that because we do need to normalize that that is a thing that you can have. And it doesn't mean that you love your children any less or any differently, or that you're not happy. It's just a feeling, an emotion. I had gender disappointment that a lot of moms talk about because I really wanted a girl first. And I remember being fine, like in the room with, because it was my mom, my sister, my best friend, and Chris. And I was like, yay. And then I remember going upstairs to shower to get the paint off me. And I like broke down crying in the shower. Like, I always knew.
What do y'all think about that? Anybody ever experienced that when you carried your children, where you just, really, really wanted to have one gender and you wound up finding out that you had, or that you was going to have another gender? And did you have a freak out moment? Or were you okay with that, just at the simple fact that you were carrying a very healthy child, whether it was a girl or a boy? Let me know in the comments. For those of you that want to share, you don't have to, because that is kind of personal. But if you want to share that, you can in the chat. It's a real thing. Some people are that way. Okay. But I would think that if a person had a lot of, medical issues in terms of conceiving, and then to find out that you were actually pregnant, like that's a huge blessing. I wouldn't give a fuck what I was carrying, even if it was twins. All right. If I wasn't expecting that, if it was baby, I'd be like, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for this baby. Right. But, Candace does have this entitled attitude. And that's one of the things that I hated about her ass when she was on the show. She really got on my fucking nerves, acting the way that she felt like she was better than everybody in this entitled attitude. Like everybody had to bow down and kiss her ass. Like I just could not see why she would act that way. But girl, you got to be grateful, honey. Be grateful, because it could have been different. But this is she and her husband, child, the one who can't really keep a job and don't be paying his child support like he's supposed to, according to his other baby mama. Was that messy? A little bit. But this is Candace and her baby with her husband. Okay. The one that damn, y'all can't see it. Hold on. Let's reshare. That was kind of messy. Sorry. I can't take her. Oh my God. She was never a favorite of mine at all. And when she announced that she was leaving and not thinking about coming back, I said, Lord, thank you for this blessing. Thank you, Lord. Okay. But this is Candace, child, and her husband that can't really keep no job like that, and don't be paying child support like he's supposed to. Okay, this is them and beautiful baby. Okay, was there something else? No. Okay, but yeah, thank you guys. Shut up, Candace. Shut up. We done with you. Okay, but let's get out of here. Okay, y'all know I'm gonna be messy, child. All right, thank you all for joining. Okay, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Thank you to my top flight Mars, Tiffany Thomas, Rose Armstead, and True TV Podcast. Thank you to all of my Caramelians for being here as well to support the video. Of course, all of my content creators that join, as well as in the bushes and in the chat all over. Please don't forget to like this video. Please hype up this video. Check me out on all publications on the Caramel Rail. Check us out on our backup channel on the Rails World. Yes, like the video, guys. I think some of you guys be forgetting to like the video. Y'all come over and get all this good tea, but y'all don't be liking the video. So we need y'all to like the video, okay? But let's get out of here. This is Rose, my top flight, my Rose's favorite song. So we're gonna play her songs. We ain't played it in a while. All right. And if nothing else,
even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.